Sandra, I'm live. Welcome to Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month After Party Day 27. Yes, I've been live streaming now for 27 days in a row. And last month was Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month, and that was to celebrate our diversity across the asexual spectrum and our differences within it. If you're new to this channel, this is the place to be for education about asexuality. So do please subscribe right now and hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I post a new video. So in tonight's video, I want to discuss with you, do knights in shining armour really exist? So this video might not be so interesting to the aromantics who aren't romantic at all, because it requires a degree of romance to understand why someone would want a knight in shining armour in the first place, and also with the sort of the modern day woman, as it were. Some women don't like the fact of a guy coming to rescue her, because it's seen as a very old and outdated concept, and a woman doesn't need rescuing because she can look after herself, right? So the knight in shining armour concept, if you're not aware of it, which you might not be if you're aromantic, is done in fairy tales, and it basically means that the guy comes to rescue the woman from like some trouble, some turmoil, some problem, some upset, and the woman's like a damsel in distress. So if you think of like a prince who's coming to basically sweep the princess off her feet, she's in, like, if you think of it as like a fairy tale, the princess is stuck in a castle with a wicked witch and the prince comes to rescue her. Or what usually happens in fairy tales is the prince ends up being no good, and this guy who doesn't look like a prince but is amazing comes in and actually saves the day. So that's quite a lot of fairy tales recently, you know, the more modern ones, is where there's usually two guys that are love interests to the woman. One is a guy who's superficial, who's got the sort of really good looks, well, what women would term as really good looks, like universal, like I really want to, you know, do whatever to him, and, you know, and butt wouldn't melt his mouth, Mr. Cha-ching. And then you've got sort of the other guy who's more maybe poorer, and he, you know, really loves the princess or the woman in the fairy tale, you know, the girl. And you kind of got these, and I'm really a romantic. I'm super romantic. I'm a hyper romantic. And, you know, I love fairy tales, and I love making my life magic, you know. I love the wonder of the feeling of magic. You know, when I go to the cinema, it's not just a cinema film I go to watch, it's a whole magical experience. When I went to Disneyland Paris last year for my 21st Mindset birthday, I had the most amazing, incredible time ever. And it was really true to who I was in my being and soul, you know. I loved it so much. I'm a Disney princess, I like to call myself, you know, because I'm really into Disney stuff. And my dad even bought me a Frozen crown for Christmas one day, you know, like the film Frozen. And I love all that kid stuff. I love all the fairy tales and stuff. And I know some girls wouldn't like that. They'd think it was like really bad for girls and women to portray that they're, you know, they're a damsel in distress. Like, I'm clearly I can look after myself, you know. I don't need a man, clearly. But, you know, it's nice if one comes to your rescue when you're really upset. And so that's what happened on last night's YouTube show. If you saw it, I got really upset. Have a lot of upset over a guy recently, Indian guy actually, who's not asexual. And yeah, because I felt like I had this connection with him, but I'm not sure if he's just using me for sponsorship to get in this country. And all his actions didn't necessarily match his words. I'm not saying he was a completely bad person or anything. You know, I thought he was quite a nice person originally. And I don't want to say anything, you know, like, I just don't like talking to people badly. But do you know what I mean? He was asking me to sponsor him to come over to the UK, and I just think that is really bad. You know, especially when he said he had money. You know, there's no getting away from the fact that that is bad. And he shouldn't be doing that. It's not nice. You know, it's like, do you like me as a person? Or just because, like, you think I can get you over here, which I can't. you know, and if you like me that much, then you come over here anyway on a tourist visa or something anyway. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point is that's why I was upset. And I've found it hard to get over that sort of connection I had with that guy and move on. So I've kind of been, my mind's been a bit distressed lately. It hasn't been as positive as it usually is. And last night there was a guy called Ronald on YouTube. That's not his real name, but he came to my rescue. I don't know if you saw it last night, but I was in a really bad crying way. I mean, I didn't think I was going to stop. And so I kind of had to finish the live stream. I was going for quite a while actually, but I kind of had to really needed to finish the live stream. And Ronald, if you watched this show for a while, about 6 weeks ago it may be, he asked me for a long distance relationship, and I said no, I couldn't do it. To be honest, I didn't know him, and I really need to get to know someone first. And you know, it's just not right for me at this moment in my life, because I kind of feel I need someone here in person, right? And I don't do well at stuff like that. It wouldn't be good for my health, and it wouldn't end well. Do you know what I mean? I'd end up not even being friends with him, and I don't want that, because I know it's not right for me. But that doesn't mean to say I don't care about him or don't like him, because I do. And you know, so far he seems to have been the most compatible asexual person for me. So it made it really difficult for both of us when I had to say no. But, you know, last night he came on, and he, you know, he's like my knight in shining armour, seriously, like a real one in person, because I was so upset. And he just put me first. He was like, I'm not having it. I'm not having you being upset. And he Skyped with me last night for 2 hours nearly. And he had to go, he studies, right? He does, I think, is it 4 subjects he does? Business being one of them, you know? He's a really brainy guy. And he's working really, really hard studying. And, you know, he had to get up in like 5 hours time or less by the time I finished talking. It was like 2 in the morning when I finished talking to him. And he put me first. And, you know, he made me a priority in his life when the hit the fan, basically. You know, when I was in such turmoil and upset, as you probably saw last night, you know, he was there for me. And before then, I wasn't actually sure if he cared that much anymore, because he hasn't been very consistent in keeping in contact with me. Sometimes it's been a long period of time before he's answered me. And I know partly why that is, because he was upset that I said no, and it's hard for both of us. And the reason I said no is because he can't get over here for 2.5 years. But we both really like each other. So it was really difficult for him, and it has been difficult for me as well. But yeah, but he put me first, you know. He came on the show last night. He specifically said, I'm not going to have you in tears like that, you know. I'm going to speak to you on Skype. And then I was on about video chat, and he's like, yeah, okay, let's do it then. And then he said about 20 minutes, but to be fair, I was on there for about 1 hour and 51 minutes, but he let me finish what I was saying. He listened attentively to me. He asked me questions about myself, as well as told me stuff about himself. And I felt like he was really trying to get to know me. And, you know, that to me is love, you know. I'm not saying he loves me. He hasn't said that. I'm not saying he does. But I'm saying, even as a friendship love, you know, that is true love, in that sense that, you know, the guy, he's gone out of his way at a time when he's really tired. It's not convenient to him really to talk, in the sense he's tired. He's been studying really hard. You know, he has to get up early, and, you know, he's got his own stuff to deal with. But yet he was there for me when the hit the fan, basically. You know, I don't like swearing, but most people would say when the shit hits the fan, excuse my language. You know, he was there for me when I really needed it. And to me, that is someone who really, really cares for you, even if they're not there 24/7 for you. Someone who's there giving up their own time at a time when they could be sleeping, at a time when they could, you know, they've got a lot of work on of their own. You know, he put me first and made me a priority. And that to me is amazing. That to me, he was my knight in shining armour last night. I can't deny that. You know, since I've spoke to him, my mindset has been so much better. I've been a lot happier in myself and in my life. I've done loads more productive work today. I'm just like, yeah, life's much better. And, you know, he really made me feel good about myself, about me and him, even though we can't be together at the moment. he made me feel good about, you know, like just my life in general, because he took such an interest, and the fact that he put me first and made me a priority in his life at a time, you know, because there's people who will give up their time, which is good. Don't get me wrong, it's really nice of them, but they'll give it up at a time when they happen to be free and got nothing else to do. Do you see what I mean? And that is like a half-handed compliment. It's like, well, it's really nice you're giving up, you know, you are allocating some time to me like that, because obviously you could be speaking to other people, but it kind of is when they're free and, you know, they're not really doing much. Technically speaking, they could be a bit bored, in effect, you know. It's like they've got nothing better to do, if you know what I mean. Whereas there's another person who, you know, like Ronald, he chose to do that. He chose to step in. He saw me upset, chose to step in, and he put his own emotions and feelings aside. Considering I did turn him down a few weeks ago about that LDR, you know, he put his own feelings and emotions aside to make sure that I was okay, you know, to make sure that I was looked after, to make sure that I felt that he cared about me, to make sure that I knew who's there for me, to make sure that I was okay, and that by the end of the conversation I wasn't in tears anymore. I was happy, and I had a really nice time getting to know him better, and we talked about a lot of in-depth stuff, and it was really, really good. I mean, to be honest, I'd like a lot more times with him like that, because I really need to get to know him more. I would love to get to know him more as a person, you know. And also it shows great emotional maturity. If you think that he's like, I don't, you know, I like younger guys, right? He's currently 19. And the other guy, the Indian guy, who's not asexual that I liked, was 34. Yeah, to me, Ronald, who's much younger, shows much more emotional maturity than the other guy in terms of the way they care about me, you know. I'm not saying, you know, the Indian guy did spend a lot of time messaging me, and in the end he Skyped even though he wasn't ill, so I have to say thank you. I did appreciate that, but I felt like it was like kind of like you know, like he then started saying about, oh, we'll Skype every day, which didn't happen. And I like people who keep their word, you know, and I kind of felt it was just me wanting that. You know, I don't like that feeling, you know, because he originally said about, oh, I won't, you know, well, I'll video chat with you in your holiday if you can't do it this time when I want to do it, basically. And I don't like something, you know, there's some people that have things on their terms and it should be equal, you know. You should equally be giving up some of your own time to speak to each other, and you should want to do that. It shouldn't be one-sided, if you know what I mean. So you need to keep to arrangement. You need to be happy with it, but you really need to want that, you know. That's how I knew the Indian guy didn't really like me as much as he said he doesn't want that crazy about me. He was like, oh, well, we can video chat on your holiday, which is like never. Do you see what I mean? So that was why I was upset about it. But yeah, anyway, so I thought I had a connection, but I'm not sure if it was just sponsorship and visa after. I think maybe he did like me as well, but I don't know which was the priority, do you know what I mean? And so anyway, I need to find an asexual guy for me, because, you know, I feel like I can only be close to an asexual guy, not a sexual guy. I really need an asexual guy to be close with. I feel a lot more comfortable, and a younger guy as well, which Ronald is. But obviously, we can't be together at the moment because he's in this country for another 2.5 years, and a lot could happen in 2.5 years. But I'm glad we're friends. And I'm glad he was there for me. I really felt like he loved me in that way and cared about me. And I really appreciated his time and the fact that he made me a priority in his life when he had other things that he could be prioritising. You know, he went out of his way to make sure that I was happy, that my upset and pain had gone, and that I was feeling good. And that was just amazing. It was a really, really amazing feeling. And so, in answer to the question, do knights in shining armour really exist? Then I would have to say they do. You know, he wasn't dressed, I was going to say he wasn't dressed up like a prince, but he looks like a prince because he's beautiful. But yeah, so, you know, I just felt so, like, it's kind of like whoosh in there. And I think he's a real man, you know, like, he's young. Like I said, he's only 19, which I'm not you know, I like a younger guy, but his maturity level's much older. And you know, that's he might be technically speaking what some people might call as a, you know, young boy, like young man. Boy, some people might call a 19-year-old a boy. But to me, he's a man. Like, you know, he manned up and he was a man, if you know what I mean. That's a real man for you. You know how you have these alpha males who can't stand alpha males. You know, you got these guys who are big macho guys who, like, got a big ego. Like, their pride is more important than saying sorry. Their pride is more important than your feelings. You know, they live off alpha male instincts, caveman. You know, you kind of have to play games like, you know, if you want them to talk to you a lot in traditional dating coaching, you know, it's kind of like, well, go away from them a bit and then they'll want to talk to you more. And it's just like, does my head in, to be quite honest. I'm not really into alpha males. I'm into someone who's gentle, soft, kind and caring, you know, and who can actually man up, even though they, you know, they might not physically look as butch as some other people do. I wouldn't want that anyway. I'm looking for a guy who can man up, but yeah, he's not an alpha male manly type, if you know what I mean. It's like, you know what I mean? So someone who can be strong and there for me, you know, when I really need him. So, but, you know, doesn't look like a caveman, doesn't have this massive ego, which means he can't be there for me or care about me. So, yeah, I really appreciate that. It was really nice. So yeah, in my answer to this question, knights in shining armor do really exist in real life, and I was so glad one came to rescue me for being really upset, because it really helped me, and today has been such a better day for me in my life. So thank you, Ronald, really appreciate that, because I know you watch this channel. And that's all I have for now. If you've got any questions, please post them in the comments below. Until next time, embrace your quirky and each other. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. And give this video a thumbs up if you like it. I really appreciate it, because it helps me out, raises more awareness of asexuality and gets this channel higher up in the search engine rankings. I will see you soon. Bye bye.